collecting them.
Oh my gosh.
Well, there we go. I've got little Santa Claus shoveling snow at the bottom of my screen. Live on YouTube, KB2UKA.
Yeah, Art. I was joking around. I said, wouldn't it be funny if they made a screensaver where instead of it being like snowflakes falling, and it's like little flex radios falling, and instead of it Santa with a shovel, it's like, a garbage truck going by.
Oh my gosh. That could be done very easily. We need to talk to Emma. What's his call? You should send that idea, Doug, to Mike.
I will. N2MDX. I will message him.
Oh, he'll do it. Oh, man, I'll pay him. I'd pay him $50 if he did that.
That would be unbelievable.
Can you imagine OBS? Oh, come on, Doug. This is great, man. You're all over this, dude.
The YouTube video that it would make.
Exactly. It'd go viral.
All right, I'm messaging him right now. KB2UKA.
Oh, this is going to happen, John. Mike will do it. He's a good dude.
Wishing you a happy and beautiful holiday from Apache Labs, and then showing that graphic.
We're bad.
What are you going to do, Art? I can't hear Doug and John.
I know, Richard. It's just, it's almost 8 o'clock. The band is short. Yeah, we might have to make the move soon if we're going to keep it going.
Yeah, we can make the move. I'm not going to stay on for too long.
Yeah, I see the live just came up. That is so cool how you have that going. Richard, we need to figure out what he's doing up there with that stuff. It's great. Who's Doug? He just activated the live.
All right, I just asked him in an email, and I also said you don't have to put your name on it if you don't want.
Oh yeah, I bet you he'll work on it.
All right, I'm gonna go look at 7214. I'll send a message once I know it's clear. KB2UKA. This is KB2UKA is the frequency in use. KB2UKA. This is KB2UKA standing by for the group. KB2UKA. This is KB2UKA standing by for the group. KB2UKA standing by.
And I believe I made it. W3 DEP.
Good morning, Dwayne. Solid 20 over.
That's exactly what I have you.
I'm over here.
Who's that? Frank?
It's John, KC2QMA.
Oh, I thought you were Frank for a second. Good morning, John.
Yeah, made it over. Yeah, that would be a funny screensaver.
Yeah, I'll let you guys know once he writes me back. He'll see it soon.
You know, I heard there was some newer firmware for the G2, and I tried updating it, but I don't think it took. it looked like certain things were successful, but when I got to I think the section where it updates the Pi SDR, I got what looked like some error messages. But I don't know about you, but when I go into my setup window in Thetis General, the General tab, my firmware says version 2.0.0, and then it says Protocol 2 version 4.3. What does yours say?
So mine says the exact same thing, and I update it, so that's not the same firmware as the G2 firmware. I know I just said something that doesn't make sense, because I believe when I updated inside Linux the firmware, and I did that about, 2 weeks ago when I got the radio. I think it was version 17 or 18. 17 or 18 was the version of firmware I updated. And I updated the P2 app and the FPGA firmware, which I don't think is Protocol 2. It's separate. And I did not update PyHPSCR. That's a third update. So there's the P2 update, the FPGA firmware update, and then PySDR. I didn't run the PySDR update.
Okay. Yeah, Art was talking about it last night. One of the new firmware updates for the G2, when you're in Thetis and you look at the top of the screen where it has the WB letters for wideband, that's a wideband scope. You should see the whole RF spectrum there. But right now, apparently, there's a bug with the G2 firmware that doesn't allow you to see that. That was supposedly fixed in some firmware update, but I'm not sure if mine took, because it's still not working for me.
Yeah, I just clicked WB, excuse me, and it brought up just a grid screen with no activity.
You see like red lines, and that's it, right?
Yeah, that's all.
N4QNT.
Welcome aboard, Art. Art, so when I upgraded, we were just talking about the FPGA firmware for the G2. So when I did that a couple of weeks ago, I think that was version 17. Is there a newer version that's out now?
Right. Now it's 18, and that fixes what John just spoke of. And, of course, the first script, the first paragraph updates the FPGA. And then the second one is the bin for V18, which is using that little flash writer on the desktop in Linux. And then you go over to the V18, find it, and then it flashes the radio. And that's when the WB will activate.
Okay. All right, good. Good. Yeah, so just install V18, John, and then it should work. I'll probably do it later today.
Okay, I'll see. I got to see what I have downloaded here, because I thought I did that, and there were some error messages during the installation. I'm going to have to video it so I can capture it all, but so I'll try it again. Let me look here on my desktop and try to find the files that I downloaded.
Uh, 26 degrees here this morning with a real feel. Hold on. A real feel of 16.
What number are they up to now? 18?
It should be 18, yes.
Thank you, John. I sent you a DM with that file, with that bin file.
You know, it's funny. Okay, I did download that one, but that says version 16, so that one's out of date.
Oh, did I really? Oh boy, I'm sorry. I'm going to double check that. Okay, then 18 will definitely work. I mean, I'm surprised I sent you 16.
Yeah, I'm going to go back, try to find the link just to make sure I didn't clicked in the wrong place.
Well, to simplify it, I'll just send you Lawrence, the gentleman who writes the code. I'll get you directly to his link, and then that way you can grab it right off his GitHub.
Okay. You know how I think it happened, Art? I'm looking at, if you sent me a message yesterday, and you sent me a link to something, and I could see in the link it says 16, so I probably just went to the wrong folder.
Oh, there, I didn't realize the shortcut. Yeah, there it is. It's the instructions. Okay, yeah, the instructions was when I grabbed that when he was using 16, but if that'll be replaced with 18, which is that file below. Right below that is that little bin file which you can download and then get it set up into the Linux folder, whichever one where you're supposed to place all those bin files, and that's the current one right there.
Okay, I'm looking at it now. I'm on his folder. Believe it or not, it says here, okay, I'm seeing version 18 and actually version 19, which was posted 5 days ago.
Oh, wow. All right, so now he already made a revision, so that's the one to use, 19. Now I'll do that. I'll do that as well when I get some time or later, but I'll definitely put in 19.
Okay. That's all it was. I'm going to read this because when I read where it says version 19, there's a little, text thing written next to it, and it just says add version 19 FPGA bit file. And then the first one is a rename. So I guess it's just, maybe it's a small update to the version 18. I'm not sure. But it looks like if it's the same size, I think they're supposed to end up being like 9 megabytes or something. If they're the same size, then that's the whole file.
Right. N4QNT.
KB2 UKA.
The FPGA update for V19, it's all the same as 18, except if you put your mouse over it, it'll open up the sub window. So now it says includes high priority status, bit 4, bit 7 with key or output bit. So it was just like a quick update, apparently.
W3 DEP.
So grabbing version 19 is the way to go.
Right, you'll be totally up to date, current.
All right, KC2QMA.
I'm going to put that as a suggestion on Discord because I have a feeling as we get closer to remote operation, there's going to be multiple firmware updates happening. And it would be great if Richie could put a one-click in Thetis, kind of like he has with the skin server, a one-click where Thetis goes out and looks for the FPGA firmware and updates it.
Well, you're on it. You're all over that, Doug. The same code that he's using for these containers with URL status, you're right. I mean, it could be a update container. You build it, put the skins that you want, make it look pretty, and then the little, how it works now with those clicks. You can actually build clicks and have spaces and build a container to actually do something, and that code could be attached to it. That would exactly that would be a great suggestion.
All right, I'm going to type it in there right now.
Yeah, Dwayne, you're just as loud as 75.
Yeah, you're coming in here great too. And Doug at one point was 30 over.
Yeah, the bands are playing really good. It's been good out here. Especially 75. When as late as we were on late, and it's like, whoa. I mean, what was it? Who was up there? Somebody. Oh yeah, Richard. Yeah, Richard was like almost hitting 40. It's like, holy mackerel.
All right,
I'm going to maybe play around with my XR today. I have Cakewalk up and running. I have the audio going into Cakewalk, but I do not have Cakewalk coming back out to the XR. So it's a matter of just learning how to do the USB returns. This way I can incorporate Cakewalk with the XR. I was going to play around with that today.
Excellent. And what was that, John? You just did what?
I said I was just saying I got version 19 on a flash drive now, on a USB drive. So all I got to do now is just plug it in the back, navigate to it, hit the flash writer program, grab that file, and that's it.
That's it. Dwayne, also, if you're going to go back to that setup, with the Cakewalk and all that, all that stuff with the VSTs, with the Behringer, if you run that little EXE program, it'll identify your ASIO driver, whatever nickname it gives it. I know for the UMC, it just says ASIO UMC driver. I'm not sure what it might be for the Behringer XAir series. It might just say XAir ASIO, something like that. But Behringer makes the list. Behringer is like front and center for that guy Brian who created that CM ASIO stuff. That would be a good experiment if you can get that installed in the registry and just have it running in the background all the time when you boot up Thetis. You don't even have to select anything in VAC1.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'll do. Like I have my other programs that automatically come up. Rumble comes up automatically. My tune reminder comes up automatically. And the log program, I'll have Cakewalk come up. I have Cakewalk set up, and I'm only going to grab like 3 of the VSTs that I like. There's a couple I just want to add in with the XR, just to try to enhance the audio, maybe just a little bit better. Keep all my current settings that I have in XR now, and just add 3 from Cakewalk to work with the XR. That's what I'm going to do.
Oh, excellent. Well, it's a good experiment. Something to ponder. But I'm eager to try that. But I have the M Audio. It's sitting in the closet, and actually M Audio is on the list too. So I'm going to be able to at least see if I can get that working with that that CM thing. But you'll know it's working when it's right next to the bottom clock, the first UTC clock on the bottom border of Thetis. The little icon CM will light up right next to it, and it'll be a green, kind of like a green square, and it knows that you're linked in.
Yeah, when I bring up Cakewalk, I can see, as I'm speaking in the mic, I can see everything working. It's showing the audio going through it. It's just not command to come back to XAir to go out to my main left. I use my main left. So it's a matter of me finding which one to click on it so it could go channeled to the XAir to go back into the Anon. So that's what I got to work on.
Okay. Also, that great program, well, it used to be bad, but now it's great again. Voice Meter Potato. It just came as a new update. It was like late October, and it's working pristine now. It works perfectly. So as far as routing, you might even consider that, and that could be kind of like the central hub to redirect everything from Cakewalk, your radio, and getting it back to, using Voice Meter Potato.
He won't need that.
Because the XR18 has the interface box already built in. So,
right.
And when I bring up Cakewalk, it sees the XR with the ASIO drivers automatically for the in and out. So I won't even need that.
I forgot about that. Right. Is that what you said, Doug?
Yeah, it's because the XR18 does the same thing my Soundcraft does. So the only trick to it is he needs to leave USB 1 and USB 2 open because Thetis only sees those 2 USB channels. And that's a request I have into Richie also, that when you click the drop down, if you have a unit that has 18 USB channels, you could see all of them. So like I said last night, Dwayne, you got to plug I would plug my mic into channel 5 because the USB channels are paired for stereo. Like channel 1, 2 is a pair, 3, 4, etc., 5, 6. So you plug your mic into channel 5 and you do all your processing that you want to do in the XR on channel 5. Like you You do your first stage EQ, your noise gate, you apply some compression, and then you send channel 5 to the input of Cakewalk. Then you add your plugins to that channel in Cakewalk, and then that goes to the master output in Cakewalk, and you make the master output go to channel 7 and 8 in the X-Air, okay? Now, you tell the X-Air, send channels 7 and 8 to my master output of the X-Air, not channel 5 that you're using for your mic channel. You do not send that to your master output. You send the returned DAW audio to your master output of the X-Air, and then that master output, Thetis hears. Thetis will hear that because that's sending everything out on channel 1, 2. And then your channel 1, 2 inside the X-Air will be your receive from Thetis. And you then tell it, don't send channel 1, 2 to the master output. Otherwise, you'll be sending all your Windows sounds, your video sounds, anything that you watch that requires audio. You don't want to send that to the master output. It sounds complicated, but once you understand the concept, it's simple.
Yeah, basically, it's how it's set up now, but the only difference is, Doug, my input right now is channel 3. That's what I currently use. And I am set up right now where 1 and 2 is my receive, but I no longer use that. I have my speakers plugged directly into the non. And the only reason why I did that is I didn't want to do any equalization with the audio output of the non. And if I would bump the cable occasionally, I would lose it through the speakers. So I don't even want to use channels 1 and 2 for the receive because my speakers are plugged directly into the non. So all my sound is coming out of the non and going right to my speakers. But I should be able to still use my input of 3 that I'm currently using now, should I not?
KB2UKA, yes, you can. Just make sure you shut off all the effects that you're using. Like you'll create a new snapshot, shut off all the effects channels on that channel 3. And the only effects you're going to use are the built-in effects on the channel, EQ, gate, compression. And then you're going to send that to Cakewalk, and then you're going to add plugins. And then when it comes back, you can do the dual combinator on the master output or whatever you want to do. Let me drop it here for ID.
It'll be a 3D.
N4QNT.
KC2QMA. Yeah, Doug. I actually been kind of asking for that for a while. Like someone needs to create like a little application script that basically essentially types all the things that we have to type manually, you know, all those command lines, which isn't the end of the world, but really it should be, at this point it would be good if they can automate the process a little bit.
Yeah, I just, there's a lot of guys running sound cards with multiple channels, more than 1 and 2. And it would be, it would be great if you could pick those up. However, I'm thinking about it right now, and I don't want to, I'm streaming and I'm talking on the radio, so I don't want to test it now. If you choose the non-ASIO driver, like the WDM or the MME, you might see all the channels of the device.
Well, I don't remember who the guy is that's working on the CM ASIO part of it. But what he has to do is he has to just write the code so that it allows Thetis to see as many inputs as the device allows you to see. So I was actually talking a little bit about this last night, but I said, well, think about the possibility of this. What if you want to take an 8-channel, an 8-in, 8-out interface, right? Those are pretty common. 8 inputs, 8 outputs. Well, USB, you plug that in. And now let's say you want to have, your microphone plugged into input 1. You want your Thetis audio output to come out of out 1 and 2. and then you might want to use a different input on input number 2, and maybe you want to go to a different pair of speakers or a recording device on outputs 3 and 4, you should be able to access all the inputs and outputs of whatever ASIO device is connected. The trick is they have to create some kind of an audio setup window or something. I'm trying to think of where they would put that, but in the setup menu, that allows you to just have drop-down boxes to select, what input you want to use and what output you want to have. That's pretty much what it really needs.
Yeah, well, I'm going to look at this right now. I think, I want to use the ASIO driver, but I bet the inputs are listed. Hold on, I'm going to shut my audio off for a second and take a look. KB2 UKA.
Favorite software that uses audio hardware, especially the DAW software that you guys are messing with, right? When you go into that DAW software, it shows you
check.
Whatever you have plugged into your computer. If you have a 24 in, 24 out USB audio interface, when you go into your DAW and you select the physical inputs of that interface, it'll show all 24 inputs and all 24 outputs as a drop-down list option. That's essentially all they have to do with Thetis, is just make it so that Thetis is physically able to see all the hardware inputs of your device, but also have a drop-down menu where you can select them.
Okay, so I just checked. If you don't use ASIO, it does show them. So if you use the WDM or the MME driver, I just looked on both of them. So I went to MME, I clicked the drop-down for input, and it had every Soundcraft channel listed there. 1, 2 in pairs, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. All the way out to 20, well, it's actually 32. Now the question is, why do I want to use ASIO? Okay, is ASIO more stable than MME and WDM? So I guess if it's already showing it on the other drivers, it should, and I'm not a coder, but I don't think it would be that difficult to be able to see it with the ASIO driver.
No, it's not. And yes, you definitely want an ASIO driver if you're able to select an ASIO driver. That's the preference, because it's going to offer you the lowest latency. I mean, when I say low latency, I mean real low latency and really good stability. That's another thing. The Windows WDM driver is kind of a workaround, and it will work, but you'll definitely have higher latency, and you could have some instabilities using those drivers that way. So the ultimate goal is that whatever device you end up with, whether it's a mixing board with an audio interface or just a plain audio interface, you really want to try to have it where all your audio inputs and outputs come from that one device, because then you don't have a conflict. Let's say you're using a Steinberg or whatever, a Behringer interface, and then you have a Motu interface plugged in. Yes, they can both work on the same computer at the same time. The difference is now you're talking about two different ASIO drivers that it has to cross-link between, right? Whereas if you have, let's say, one product that has all the inputs and outputs that you need, that's one ASIO driver for all your inputs and outputs. That's going to offer you the most stability if you could use one device with one driver for all your input and output. But that's not always, possible for everybody's situation. But that is the ideal scenario.
Hey guys, WZ2P. I think this is Rich, WZ2P. Hey Doug, I'm not familiar with the other guys here. I think part of the way you guys are diving into is a limitation of ASIO. If you start diving into ASIO, I think part of the problem with ASIO, as good as it is you can't. It typically doesn't play well with more than one device at a time, and that might be part of the glitch.
Well, hey, Rich, good morning. And yes, it doesn't play well when you're trying to use the same channel on multiple pieces of software. I think it plays okay when, if software A is using channel 1, 2, software B is using channel 3, 4, software C is using 5, 6, etc. And to what John was saying, that's the whole I have run 2 sound cards, John. I've run like a Focusrite and a PreSonus, and I had both drivers going, and I did it for years successfully. It works better than we think it would work. But yeah, Rich, I think Windows doesn't like to share the channel. So as long as the channels are separated, I think you'll have minimal glitches.
Yeah, it's possible. I ran into this years ago in a recording studio environment when I was trying to set up a few things, and I discovered quickly the ASIO problem. I mean, it wasn't a radio application, but needless to say, I don't know if any of that's changed. I haven't really followed ASIO, but as far as any newer developments. But that's why the WMD driver, if you let Windows manage it, it lets you see everything, all the input outputs, I guess, is what you just discovered. I would have expected that.
Yep. All right. Well, good to hear, Rich. KB2UK, I'm going to drop it here for a second. I've been babbling.
KC2QMA. Well, all I could say is, just from the experience that I have, the Windows driver, the WDM driver, is an acceptable driver, but it is not an ideal driver. It will certainly work. The ASIO driver is a driver that is custom made by the manufacturer for that piece of hardware. So it is optimized to run that hardware at its maximum potential, right? It's also if you look at a lot of the hardware interfaces that you buy, it not only comes with its own ASIO driver, but it comes with a little application that allows you to control the buffer size. It allows you to control, a couple of features of the unit itself. Sometimes it even has, if you have mic preamps, it'll allow you to turn the phantom power on and off via software. So there's a lot of advantages to that ASIO driver now. I'm not sure what your experience you have it in the past with it, but I can tell you, ideally, you do want the ASIO driver. That is going to be the optimal experience, at least with the piece of hardware that you're using. And as far as conflicting with multiple pieces, yeah, Doug's kind of onto that. You don't want to have multiple pieces in your system sharing the same channel. It is actually okay. You can have a Motu, let's say, interface if you want, dedicated for all your Windows and PC sounds, right? Going on the internet, and just use that for that. And then you can have another dedicated interface that's just dedicated for Thetis. And if you do that, it'll actually probably work just fine. It's just when you try to mix the two worlds together. Anyway, KC2QMA, I'll be right back.
VA3KBC, good morning, gentlemen. And NW3DEP, I'll be right back.
KB2UKA, good morning, DJ.
Good morning. Holy mackerel, she's nipply out there. 27 degrees.
Same here, DJ, exactly the same, with a real feel of 16.
I got 25 here.
Alabama is cold.
Yeah, so what happens, Richard? You wake up to 25 and it's 65 by noon?
No, I don't think it's supposed to get up about 45 today.
Well, hell, I ain't moving south then. No, I'm kidding. I know, you can wake up to 30 in Florida and it's 75 by 12 o'clock.
Yeah, in Florida, that's right.
I'm sorry I missed it. We're supposed to get a high today of 54.
Yeah, I don't even, let's see. Our high is 37. All right, so it's already creeping up. It's 28 now.
All the way to next Friday, we're supposed to stay in the 20s.
I've got a snowflake for Wednesday, 40%. So we'll see what that turns into.
So real quick, Doug, just thinking about this real quickly. On the road duo, and the duo means it basically has two independent cards, or they might be just working in tandem, but there's two individual USB slots in the back, 3.0, and that goes out to the PC. So with that said, like, for instance, setting up OBS on the internet side, right, and then setting up the other side for the the non-audio, the radio audio microphone. Does that sound reasonable that could actually work, or because it's using the two cards?
Yes, it does. So the goal here is you might be able to do what I'm doing without using voice meters. So let me ask you this. When you go into the audio tab and you choose driver ASIO, and then you click the drop-down box for, let's say, input, how does it name, and I'm assuming each USB has two channels? You could answer that, or one, but how does it list them in Thetis?
All right, so you're talking about audio VAC1, and then you select the driver ASIO, right?
Yep, and then you click the drop-down. How do you see that USB 1 and USB 2 in the road? How do you see that listed? How do they differentiate both separate USBs?
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, the input is Roadcaster and the output is Roadcaster under driver ASIO.
You might only be able to do that using VAC2 as the second as the second USB.
Yep, that's where I'm going. But VAC2 is going to list the same thing VAC1 lists. So it's not, that might be, I don't know if you remember, Art, I had the Rode Duo. I bought it for 24 hours and then I returned it because it didn't do what I wanted it to do, but I didn't get that far with it. There might be something you have to turn on in the Rode software to be able to see both of those USB, both of those internal sound cards. So what you would do then is, to Rich's point, I think what you would, it all depends. If both sound cards are hearing everything without you having to turn on the second sound card, then you would just go into OBS and you would make your mic and receive channels the second USB. If they're not both hearing it, then you have to somehow turn that on. And then if it's really acts as two separate sound cards, you should be able to do it without voice meter. If it doesn't, then you're going to need voice meter. And I can walk you through that if that's what you have to get.
Right, okay. Because with that, then in that selection, like voice meter or another application, then you can see the Duo chat, which is using USB 1, and then you can see the secondary or whatever, the main Duo. And that's the separation of those cards. But you don't see that in the Thetis drop-down menu. Got it.
Right. Like, for example, right now, inside OBS, my mic channel is mic line in 1 and 2. But that's probably that's not using ASIO. I think that might be, yes, Soundcraft MADI USB combo card, it says. And then my receive channel is mic line in channel 5 and 6. And I'm not going to get into it. Rich knows the Soundcraft, it assigns the USB channels in a weird way. So that 5.6 is actually an auxiliary channel in my Soundcraft. But I'm utilizing all separate USB channels for OBS.
Yeah, well, tell you, it's pretty flawless. I think since that Soundcraft, now the way it's working, it sounds great even over the air. When I'm listening to that live, just your audio coming through and then referencing the audio on the other side, it's excellent. It's probably the one of the best samples out there.
Oh, thank you. Well, what you're hearing on YouTube, that's my exact audio that goes into the transmitter. So there's nothing else added. There's no CFC, nothing. So that's the local audio, what you're hearing.
Hey, Doug.
Yeah, Dwayne.
Yeah, keep in mind with my box, the X-Air, what I'm trying to do with Cakewalk, I'm not coming out of the X-Air and going into the Anon VAC. I'm coming out of the main line of the X-Air, and I'm going in back of the Anon line input.
I'm sorry, Dwayne, just say that one more time.
I'm not using VAC to go into the Anon. I am using my line input in the back of the Anon, the line input in the back, using the RCA.
Yes, so you could still do that. So what you're going to do, so you're coming out of the main and going line into the radio. So the setup that I discussed earlier will be identical. You still need to send audio to Cakewalk, send the processed audio from Cakewalk back to the X-Air on another channel, and then send that channel, and I call it DAW return. Send the DAW return channel to your main output, and then that'll go line in just like it is now to the radio.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, I just wanted to let you know I wasn't doing the VAC. I don't know if that changed anything, but I'm coming out of the X-Air, going right into the RCA jack back to the on.
KC2 QMA.
And 4 QNT.
W3DEP.
KB2 UKA.
VA3 KBC, bottom of the hour.
Well, I'll just say one other thing about the ASIO driver thing. So, a lot of those interfaces, like I said, can even have up to 24 channels in some cases, even more, right? Well, how the hell do you see them and how do you address them? When the ASIO driver is written, each of those channels gets an ID number. So as long as whatever software you're using, like your DAW software, if it's written correctly, it will be able to see the individual ID numbers of all the channels that are available on that interface. And once it can see those channel IDs, then it automatically will allow you to drop them down as input 1, input 2, input 3, input 4, so forth, right? Output 1, output 2, output 3, output 4, and so forth. So all it is at this point, as far as we're talking about the CM ASIO, we're not talking about VAC. At least that's not what I was talking about. I'm talking about CM ASIO. We want CM ASIO to be able to see any input or output on any of your ASIO audio interfaces. All they have to do is he's got to just get in there and adjust his code to see all the inputs. And then it should be fine. Then you could just dedicate an audio interface, even a 1 in, 2 out, or a 2 in, 2 out interface. You can have that just dedicated for your microphone input and your Thetis audio output.
Okay, yeah. So I was talking about VAC, but that would be great. I use VAC. I don't use CM ASIO because most of the cards that I use aren't supported by it. So yeah, if it can see one ASIO driver, it should be able to see all ASIO drivers. I'm sure they'll get there.
Oh yeah. Well, and the big thing about using the CM ASIO is now you're not using your VAC channels. You're freeing your VAC channels up now for digital modes and other things. So when you switch from mode to mode or band to band, you don't constantly have to change your VAC input settings and whatnot. Because, I think of it this way: CM ASIO is sort of like the equivalent of completely disabling and removing the internal hardware of your Apache Labs radio, throwing it to the side and saying, okay, from now on, I want the Thetis to only use this audio box that I plug in for the audio input, which is your microphone input and the audio output of Thetis. So that's beautiful. If you get that working, now you don't have to screw around with the VAC channels, and those are now free for all your digital programs, and you can just dedicate them to that only, and never have to worry about using your microphone input on the VAC channels.
Yeah, real quick, Doug.
Yeah, Art.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny. I was just thinking about that. When you look at the list for the CM ASIO devices, you know, the list that you get basically. I mean, no disrespect towards anybody, but I kind of chuckle a little. And what you're looking at is aisle 13 at Walmart. It's the Walmart audio interface card selection.
Yeah, and you know, I've owned most of those, and the reason probably because somebody first getting into it who doesn't become insane like I do, and like a lot of us do. Those are the most common cards that are purchased. But you know, I Behringer's in there, so I know the X-Air works. That's probably the most exotic of the ASIO drivers is Behringer because of the X-Air. But I guess, well, they're different drivers. They have the cheaper boxes too. But I guess once he's got Behringer, that's it. But yeah, it should, you know, this is the voodoo radio of the day, is the Anon. Okay, the way Kenwood was. So yes, it would be great if, it could see any ASIO device and work with it flawlessly.
Just remember, Doug, you're using DAW software, right?
Yeah, I'm using Studio One.
When you go into Studio One and you go into the setup menu for audio devices, right, it shows you a list of all the inputs and all of the outputs that are available in that console.
100%. Right now my input is channel 3. My output of the master is 5 and 6, and I could choose whatever I want.
And the reason for that is because the way your DAW software was written correctly so that it's able to identify any ASIO driver and show any input or output that's available. Now, that doesn't mean you could select all of them. I mean, let me give you an example. Say you have an 8-in, 8-output interface. Well, if you're using the CM ASIO, technically CM ASIO, as I know it right now, is only going to address inputs 1 and 2 and outputs 1 and 2 of whatever device it's going to be connected to, because that's really all Thetis can support as far as your microphone input. But you can't have it say, you can't say, well, I want to have input 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 all enabled at the same time. Well, that wouldn't work. You'd only be able to select one input and one pair of inputs and one pair of outputs at one time. That I could see being the case with CM ASIO, but yeah, just that's all it is. It's a matter of him just getting a little bit better with the coding for the CM ASIO setup, and pretty soon you'll actually be able to go into Thetis and just pull it down as a drop-down list like you do in your DAW software right now, where you just go into your DAW software and say, okay, I want my microphone input to be input 1. Click, and that's done.
Yep, and there'd be no need for Thetis to see more than 2 channels, but I just want to be able to choose which 2. But there'd be no need for it. The DAW needs it because if I have a 32 in-out device, I might want 32 separate, I might want drums on channel 1 and 2, and vocals on 3 and 4, and trombones on 5 and 6, and a guitar on 7 and 8, and that's different. You don't need that for Thetis. You only need your voice coming in.
Exactly. But let me just say, what if you have a 24-channel interface and you don't want to use channel 1 for your microphone, you want to use channel 24 for your microphone? Well, that's what we're talking about. Right now, it would have trouble seeing channel 24, and that's the part that needs to be corrected. Just the ability for it to see, to show what available inputs and outputs are in whatever device you're connecting to it, essentially. And that's all doable. That's just a matter of writing the code a little bit better for the ASIO support.
Doug?
I was just, yeah, go ahead, DJ.
Yeah, when I downloaded the voice meter potato last night, there was, 5 drivers when in the drop down. And it took I'm using ASIO for all. And so when I went to key up with the on here, I had no audio. It wouldn't transmit or anything, so I uninstalled it. So I'm thinking, and then Art didn't have that problem, neither did Richard. So I've got 3 interface cards here. I think I might just use one of them to go along with the Behringer 22 that I have right now, rather than downloading voice meter potato again. And then I just have the 2 sound cards here, and do it that way. What's your opinion on that?
You can absolutely run it with the 2 cards. That's how I used to do it. The thing with voice meter, you don't want to use ASIO for all. Okay, you want to use the voice meter drivers. So you can look at each one of those drivers as a separate audio device. Let's see. Can I see that? Yeah, so you got, hold on. I have it right here. Yeah, you've got voice meter aux virtual ASIO, voice meter insert virtual ASIO, voice meter potato insert, voice meter VAIO 3 virtual ASIO, and voice meter virtual ASIO. So you have to watch K1GMM's video on how he sets this up, and you'll see which driver he uses in OBS and which one he uses inside Thetis. But the whole point of voice meter is to use those drivers so that they can talk properly to voice meter. But yeah, the 2 cards will work. They will absolutely work.
Yeah, so I've got this Euphoria UMC 22, the one I got the other day there. We got that hooked up, so that's what's running now. And then the 202 I took out, the USB interface I took out, the red box, and then the one that you sent me I took out as well. So I've got either of those 3 I can add with the 22. So I guess when you have some time, if you want to give me a hand, we'll figure that out. And for QNT.
KB2 UKA, yes, DJ, of course.
KZ to win. Not to mention, voice meter, it's complicated.
Hey, good morning, Chris. Yeah, it is complicated. It's complicated. If I go 6 months without looking at it, I have to watch the video again on how to set it up.
W3D.
Yeah, I had help with mine. That's what I use, the voice meter potato. And I love it. Just with my little Motu interface. It's simple. Works every time.
Good morning, everybody. W40. KG2MM.
Good morning, Dominic. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Dom.
Morning, Dominic.
And good morning.
Oh, wow, the whole crowd is in here.
Yes, it's the 24 days till Christmas, Dom. And what I was going to ask you, DJ, is are you going to go out there in the cold and use the griddle today?
It's in the garage. I always go out in the garage and use the griddle. Absolutely. Hey, I'm Canadian.
All right, good, yes. Ham, bacon, and eggs.
Well, I've got regular bacon, honey flavored bacon, eggs, and I'm gonna do scrambled eggs and put them in a wrap. And then I've got to cook up some hamburger because we're gonna do chili today. So Carol wants me to do it out in the griddle rather than in the kitchen on the big electric frying pan. I do it out in the garage, and I sop up the grease, and then I put that in a bowl and take it into the house, and then she puts it in the crock pot for spaghetti. So yeah, that works out good.
All right, great. I'm getting hungry. Well, you're sounding good, DJ. So everything is correct now? No more audio hiccups or anything?
No, it seems to be good. I did lose audio when I was playing around with the OBS. What happened, I don't know. I had to reboot and get it back. But so the CPU is around 16 to 15 there, anywhere from 15 to 20. My frames per second, I have it set at 30, but I've noticed twice now that there's a little jitter, and I wasn't talking or anything. It was a little jitter, and then frame rate went down to 8, and then it came back up. So it could be something with Windows, because I'm hooked direct, and so I'm on the internet all the time, eh? So, yeah, other than that, everything was good. I got all my metering done, and it was nice that I had my... So what I did, had the other computer hooked up to my 24-inch monitor, so I had the old setup, and I was just going from tab to tab telling Art what to do, and then what Art, there's some things I did myself, because we were team viewing, and that worked out really great, saved a lot of time. And then when I came to doing the metering, I did that myself and got all those colors and everything set up. So it was, we spent 4.5 hours between this being on the phone, team viewing, and back and forth. So it all worked out great. I really owe him a debt of gratitude for helping me out with this. So that's the story there. The OBS I got up, everything's working. I went online with it, but I don't have audio from the mic. I did have it, but that took the audio away from the Anon, so we got to do something a little different there. But that's why I think I'm going to use one of those 3 audio cards, and I might use the USB, the red box, or I don't know whether to use the Behringer. It may be better quality, but I don't know what you think, having the 2 Behringers hooked together.
No, I would not use the 2 same devices. That goes back to all the stuff me and John and Rich were talking about. If you have 2 identical devices, they don't have 2 separate drivers. It's going to then fight for the driver, and it's going to cause many, many issues, I believe. And I also just want to make a statement that for the first time in 5 years, I heard you say the Canadian A. After whatever you were talking about. Darren noticed it too and put it in Rumble.
Yeah, hosehead.
All the time. I never realized it till my cousins from Allentown, Pennsylvania, about, what would it be, I guess about 40 years ago, they came to visit, and they were teasing me that I was always saying, hey, and I said, what are you talking about, eh? And then it dawned on me, golly, we do say that a lot.
Well, I'm glad you said it, because I was starting to doubt that you were actually Canadian.
You guys are rubbing off onto me, especially that Dominic guy. That's why I get so upset and start using language that's inappropriate.
Oh, man.
Yes, Dominic's a very bad influence on all of us. Bad Dominic.
He's an inspiration to us all.
You talking to me?
Yeah, we're talking about you. I don't know if you're hearing us. I think we're losing the band between us down there.
Roger. I hear you guys still pretty good. I got like a S1 noise level.
Yeah, 40's very quiet right now. Yeah, you're S8, S9, but you're loud.
Roger. I thought I was hearing things with DJ this morning when he said that.
Yeah, I almost fell out of my chair, DJ.
Now, what time was it last night? We were burning the midnight oil.
I saw you guys get off at 11:30 at least on Rumble.
I got off at 8 o'clock on the dot.
Yep, I was 7 a.m. this morning.
up, went and got him. She's go to the zoo with her grandson and her daughter. And she said, I'm leaving. I said, wow, what time is it? She turned around and said, it's late.
All right, guys, I'm going to get my day started. I'm going to go over there and grab some breakfast and later on head out to the woods for the evening hunt there. So take care. Nice to talk with everybody. And maybe I'll play around with the Behringer box with the cakewalk later on this evening. But take care. W3DEP.
Stay warm out there. 7-3.
When you did the BIOS upgrade, did you notice that on the boot now it takes a little longer at the very beginning?
I did not.
All right.
I'll look next time I do it. I'll pay more attention to it.
Well, gentlemen, I'm getting hungry, so I think I'm going to back out of here as well. This was a great morning QSO. Hope you all have a beautiful Sunday. Stay warm out there, and happy Christmas season. KB2 UK clear.
7-3, Doug.
I think I'm going to use that one there.
What, DJ?
I posted the pic.
Oh, okay. All right, 73 guys. Art, Mike, Dom, John, DJ, Rich, if you're still in there, and Chris, if you're still in there. 73, everyone.
73.
All right, see you later, Doug. KZ2N.
Later, Doug.
Yeah, 7-3, Doug. Yeah, like Darren says, it's a focus rate knockoff.
Adios, muchacho. Vamonos.
Yes, and 7-3, Rich. Okay, Richard, take care. KB2 UK clear. All right, take care, guys. Hope you all have a fine Sunday. Take care.